Everybody, hello, how are you doing? Today's video is going to be very, very different from any other videos on my channel. Today we're going to be talking about a substance that has a lot of debate around it, a lot of mystery, a lot of misinformation. We're going to be talking about a substance by the name of Kratom, or Kratom. There's arguments on how to pronounce it, but the Latin name, if I'm reading it correctly, no pitchforks here please, is Mitragyna Speciosa. Again, don't bring out the pitchforks. I am nowhere near an expert. I'm just someone with a backstory, probably one that you guys might be familiar with. Many years ago, about 10-15 years ago, I was in a pretty bad car accident, and I was fortunately not terribly injured, but I was pretty messed up. I had really bad whiplash, and suffice to say, you guys might even know where this is already going. So they put me on some MS Cotton. I got 2 months prescription of morphine sulfate. This is way back in the day when there were tiny little purple pills. It was like 60 milligrams I was taking twice a day for my car accident. After 2 months, I was physiologically addicted to opioids. After that 2-month period, my ex-fiance at the time, she had Crohn's disease. And she was, when I say she was a walking pharmacy, she was a walking pharmacy. Everything from Adderall to Xanax. One of the many medications she was on for her Crohn's disease was a medication which you might also be familiar with, which is called Oxycontin. Again, back in the days, this was back when they had 160 milligram, the ovals. She was on the round ones, the 80 milligram ones. Of course, like an idiot, when I was done with my morphine regimen for my pain, after 2 months, of course, the doctor was not going to give me any more, and I was already physiologically addicted. It was absolutely horrible. So I started taking her oxys, and of course, it went from eating 1 or 2 to, you already know how this goes. It got really bad, really bad. So they put me on buprenorphine. They put me on Suboxone. I was on the troches, and then I was on the sublingual films. Initially, I was on 24 milligrams a day. I stayed on Suboxone until I moved out to California, got a new doctor. They put me on Subutex. Same thing. It still has the buprenorphine. It just doesn't have the naloxone in it. And they had me on 16 milligrams. It's a maintenance dose. They had me on that for 10 years, people. 10 years. I asked my doctor, I begged my doctor, I said, look, this is crazy. Instead of weaning me off of it, in addition to the buprenorphine, 16 milligrams a day, he said, well, you know, we can wean you off, but maybe you just need to chill for a little bit. So I was also slapped on 10 milligrams of diazepam a day. That's valium. It's in the benzodiazepine family. It's not a painkiller. It's a sedative and anti-anxiety, basically. So I was polydrugged, and in addition to that, I was drinking alcohol daily, between anywhere a minimum from a half pint all the way up to a fifth of rum a day. So buprenorphine, benzodiazepine, diazepam, valium, and the alcohol. I tried, keyword being tried, to go cold turkey off of just the Valium. This was on February 1st of basically last year, of 2018. And I did it. Like, I went from 10 milligrams to nothing, and I was still on they brought me down. Now I'm on my maintenance dose. This is in this 10-year period. So I was on 16 milligrams of the buprenorphine, the Subutex, without the naloxone. Like I said, they switched me over, but it's still all the same shit. So I was still taking the 16 milligrams, the 8 during the morning, the 8 at night. I cut the Valium down to nothing. My alcohol use skyrocketed. I thought I was flipping, going insane. I was going insane. I was absolutely going insane. There's a couple support sites if you're here for benzodiazepine abuse or use and you're trying to get off. It's never supposed to be prescribed for more than 7 days. They had me on this crap for years, literally years, like damn near 10 years. And I said, okay, I'm sick of living like a zombie. I got to get off this, like one way or another. I got to do it. So I cut it from 10 milligrams, 5 in the morning, 5 in the evening. This is of the diazepam, down to nothing. I was still on my 8 milligrams of the buprenorphine in the morning and 8 milligrams in the evening. I figured I'm going to do this one drug at a time. Like, it's stupid me, right? I made it about 6 months, from February until late July, like late in the summer. I lost my shit. And this was still being on the buprenorphine, mind you. This was still on 8 milligrams in the morning, 8 milligrams in the evening. And my alcohol use skyrocketed. Like, I was up to a fifth a day of Bacardi rum. It's 80 proof, 40% alcohol. It's absolutely insanely ridiculous. I cracked. I went back on the Valium. I didn't go on the full 10 milligrams. I went back on 5. Now let's fast forward all the way to current year, 2019. Today being July 9th, 5:51 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I was introduced to something called Kratom or Kratom. It is an absolute miracle drug. I'm giving you my backstory as the first part of this so that you can understand, like, where I came from, where I went, etc. This time around, I didn't think it would be possible because I couldn't go one day without buprenorphine. By the end of the first day, if I didn't have my evening dose, I'd start sweating, going through the withdrawals. Anyone that's been there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't go one day without the bupe. Like I said, I successfully kicked the Valium for 6 months, went damn near insane. Like I said, there's support sites out there, benzobuddies.org if you're here for the Valium. This time, I started doing a little research on the internet. I started looking around and seeing people saying they were kicking everything from nicotine to alcohol to opiates to antidepressants to benzodiazepines. They're kicking it all with this substance called Kratom. I was obviously very skeptical. Well, I got myself some Maeng Kratom, 90 grams, for $29.99, and I'm coming to find out that even that's a little pricey. So basically, for an ounce and a half, I spent $30. I stopped everything. I stopped the alcohol. I stopped the benzos. I actually had stopped the benzos a few days before. And I stopped the buprenorphine. That was 4 days ago. I've been consuming between, this is a 90 gram bag, as you can see, most of it is still left. I've been consuming between 1 to 2.5 to 3 grams every 4 to 6 hours. It has absolutely, completely eliminated any withdrawal. I couldn't believe it. My desire to use alcohol went from complete levels of alcoholism to levels that I can't even describe. Like, I could drink a gallon in a sitting and be drunk, but I would be a functionable drunk. Like, I could still talk to you. I wouldn't be slurring all over the place. I could still talk. I couldn't go a week without Valium, and I certainly couldn't go 1 day without buprenorphine. That's your Suboxone. The Suboxone has the naloxone. That's the only difference. I'm going to continue this in my second part.